All right, hey internet. I was messing around in a really cool software tool called Notion, and I was my goal was to make grocery shopping just a little bit easier. And I came up with some pretty cool stuff. So I try to make a video that's not too long. I'm going to recreate it entirely from scratch to show that it's actually really quick to do it. There's not too much fanciness. And I think Vicky and I are gonna keep using it to see if we get value out of it. So, alrighty. So the idea is that, okay, there's gonna be a series of pages that we create. The first page is a database we're gonna be calling recipes. And in this case, maybe we have a chicken coconut curry recipe. We're also going to have a sheet that is a bunch of ingredients. So these are ingredients that we can mix and match into different recipes. And we're also going to note where they are in the grocery store. Then we're going to have a shopping list here. And the shopping list is going to be auto-populated. That's kind of the whole point of this, where we will be able to say something like, and actually I'm going to clear this out because I didn't clear it out yet, but we're going to be able to say something like, hey, I would like to, we're looking at our list of recipes. Maybe I'm interested in cooking chicken coconut curry on today's Thursday, maybe Saturday. So simply just by adding this date here to this recipes page, the first thing that happens is our little calendar view nicely has, oh, we've meal planned. We now know that we're cooking on this day. But more importantly, it added all of the linked ingredients that were part of that recipe to the shopping list. And as you can see, you can sort and order by different departments. So you can easily go to one department, get everything there. But it's kind of, you also want to be able to remove things as you get them to get that nice little dopamine boost that you're making progress finishing your grocery shopping. So when you click them, as you can see, they disappear and they go from this to buy column to an in basket. So that's kind of the whole thing that's built here. Again, schedule when you want to eat something in the future. And have it automatically show up on a calendar and have it automatically add to your shopping list. So let's show you how you can build that. So Notion, if you haven't used it, is like Google Docs, Google Sheets, Gallery, has a bunch of different stuff all in one. And that's why I really like it. It's also really clean. So we're going to make a database and we're going to create, I have a couple test ones in here, but what we're going to do is create a new one. This one's going to be inventory, and we're going to call it test 3. And we're going to have some ingredients. Maybe we're going to do 2 different meals that we're going to show how this works for. We'll do a coconut chicken curry. We're going to have chicken, coconut milk, and rice. And then maybe we also want to do a pasta at some other late day. So we'll do like pasta, maybe we'll call it spaghetti. And we'll do tomato sauce and Parmesan cheese. Now, the thing about Notion is it's not just a spreadsheet. Each of these items is actually an element in and of itself. So you can open up a page, and so you can have, you can even have more databases and stuff in each of these items. So it's really powerful. But really, I'm doing something much more impractical and inane, and that is I'm simply adding fun little emojis to these different items. So we're going to have coconut milk. And I kind of like this because it allows it to be much more visually, like you can kind of react to the items a lot easier because the visual element helps you see it quickly. So rice, and just to kind of show you what I mean by that, I'll leave, I should do one more, but I'll leave the other ones there as it is. So this is going to be pasta. We'll leave these without emojis. Next, we're going to move to our next, this is going to be the recipes. This is test 3 as well. And actually, I accidentally turned it into a blank page. So I'm going to recreate that and call it recipes test 3. And this is going to be a table. And so this is going to be recipes test 3. Oops, I linked it to an existing database. So we are going to start over. So I kind of gave away something you can do here. You can link to other databases, but for this one, we're just going to create a new database. This is going to be recipes test 3. This is going to be a table, and we're going to create a new database. And this database is going to be recipes. And this one is going to be ingredients. All right, so here we mentioned that we were going to have a coconut chicken curry. And we were going to have a pasta. So the next feature I want to talk about is, even though these databases are separate, you can relate items together. So instead of having, I guess there was one more thing I wanted to do on this side was, we want to quickly categorize these as being where they are in the grocery store, because ultimately we want to help shopping be easier. So I'm going to turn this is a multi-select type of property, and we're going to say department. And so the nice thing about it is you can just either select an option if it exists or create one. So this is going to be, let's call it meat and seafood. And coconut milk is going to be in the can section. And we'll do, as you can see, the options that we created are just listed here. We'll call this non-perishables. And spaghetti, we can say that's in non-perishables too. Tomato sauce, we'll say that's canned. We could probably think of a better convention, but this one will have dairy. All right, so back here, what we want to do is we want to associate different ingredients to a recipe, and you can do that by relating fields together. So we're going to turn this tags column. Really, this is just a pre-made one. You don't need to worry about it. Like, for example, we could delete this property. So we just say delete, and as you can see, you know, it wasn't used anywhere. But when you say add a new property, this is where we can call this. What we want to do is we want to see what ingredients are in each of these recipes. And the type of property we're going to do is called a relation. So we're going to relate this to the other database inventory, and we will have it show up there as well. And let's add this relation. So this, now when you add items, the options that you're adding are actually the options in this database. So we can say coconut chicken curry is, we want it to be composed of, and this was my point about the emojis. See how it kind of doesn't look as nice where you have these default empty ones? So we'll just go over and do that right now and say tomato. This is going to be Parmesan, rather. Over here, we're going to say coconut chicken curry is composed of chicken, coconut, and rice. And pasta is composed of spaghetti, Parmesan cheese, and tomato sauce. Alrighty, so we're now starting to build out. And now on the inventory, you can also see the other direction. You can see that these ingredients are in these recipes, and you can see that these recipes have these ingredients. They kind of relate from both directions. Now, the next thing we want to do is, the way that I want this to work is I want to schedule a recipe for a day. We want to kind of plan when we do different recipes. So what we'll do is we'll click this again and we'll add a date column. We're going to call this planned. We'll put this over here on the second one. And what we also want is we want a meal plan view. We want to be able to look at a calendar. We want to see when we're planning items. So this is going to be a calendar. And what we're doing is, instead of a new database for this calendar, we're actually using the recipes database. Again, we want calendar, not table. So the calendar is here. I like to hide this. It looks cleaner. As you can see, we have a calendar here. We're in June, end of June, last day of June. And what we can do is, actually, I should, for simplicity, I'm going to say this is test 3 as well. What we can do is we can plan chicken curry to be a meal on Saturday, and we can plan pasta to be a meal on Sunday. And as you can see, those items now show up on the calendar just that easily. And as a reminder, I'm doing this on my desktop, but there's a Notion app, there's a Notion iPhone, Android, iPad. So, when we go into the grocery store, it's really easy to look at these different views on the phone as well. So now we have this nice view. It just took literally a few clicks to have this calendar view of the recipes that we're scheduling. The next we want to do is we want to create a grocery list. So whenever we schedule one of these items, we want to add all of the associated ingredients to a shopping list that we would have with us in the store. And I kind of designed around a problem that I foresaw would happen, where if we were to just kind of like check a bunch of ingredients and add it to a list, then we would have to uncheck that at a certain point. We would have to kind of do maintenance on our grocery list. And that's actually something that I hate about grocery lists, is that they're constantly like ridden with old items that you never know if you bought or if you still need to buy, or if your partner was like, it's from 2 months ago. This is really unclear. So we could set up some logic where our grocery list only has items from recipes if they're on our calendar, but only for a future date. So what that would nicely do is, if this is scheduled for July 2nd, so once it becomes July 3rd, it falls off of the calendar, or it falls off of the grocery list, because it's no longer part of a recipe that is on the calendar in the future. So that's my solution for making the grocery list a lot more kind of clean and easy to manage. All right, so we're going to create the last and the fourth item here. This is going to be the shopping list. Test 3. I did it again. Just to show you kind of what I'm accidentally doing is, so I'm cleared the template, and you don't need to clear the template. Like, you can do anything in one of these pages. It doesn't need to be a database, which is really cool. Like, you can go back to this, or you can create a bunch of other stuff. But in this case, you can play around with Notion later, but in this case, what we're really going to do is add another table. But this time we're going to do something we haven't done before, is we're going to actually make this table a full relation to an existing one. Because again, our shopping list, we want it to be composed of our inventory items, because we're buying inventory items. So we're going to say, we're going to select that database. As you can see, this is the relation symbol, so it's related back to inventory. So I'm going to hide this. So now, right now we're seeing the same list as inventory, but in our shopping list, what we really want to see is only, like we mentioned, only only inventory items for recipes that are on the calendar in the future. Okay, so how do we do that? What we need to do is we need to be able to pull in the date column from the recipes and be able to filter this list based on that date column. So that can be done. As you can see, there's already this relation where we're already relating this, for example, this chicken inventory item to the chicken curry recipe. So what we can do is, this is a relation field. We're going to add what's called a roll-up field. A roll-up is just kind of grabbing the data from that side of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll up from recipes, but we're going to roll up the planned field instead, and we're going to call this on the calendar, or we can call it when do we need it, because that's kind of, because again, this is the shopping list view again, so we need to know, okay, chicken, it's for coconut curry, when do we need it? Okay, cool. Alrighty. So it just occurred to me, I was wondering if it's on multiple different recipes that are on different dates. I'm wondering how this would roll up if there's multiple dates in one field. Haven't tested that. I guess we'll see. But for this one, this should work just fine. So, all right, what do we don't want to do next? We want to turn this shopping list into a shopping list. So we want to filter by first, when do we need it? And we want that to be, and you can use this kind of conditional logic. We want it any date that is after, and you can select a date, but that would just be static. So you want to do any date that is after today. So that means, you know, if we went back to recipes and we're like, say we had eaten this today instead of we're planning it for later. Oh, whoops, this is the wrong one. Say we had eaten this today. If you go back to the shopping list, you'll see that it disappeared. Like there was only the these new ones that were in the future. So again, just to make sure that functionality is clear, so you can go back to recipes. You're looking at recipes, and you know, maybe these are clear. Maybe you haven't done any. You're looking through. Maybe it's a longer list of recipes, and you say, "Oh, look, my shopping list is empty. You know, everything's clean." And what you really want is, oh, let's cook pasta on Saturday, and then boom, as we can see, it's added there automatically. Now, the last thing I'll mention is another feature, and there's endless features that you can add to this to make it better and better. But one thing that occurred to me is, what if we had an inventory item that was like salt, and gotta add the icon, of course. And this is in non-perishables. And we've added salt to the coconut chicken curry item. Now, you probably rightly wonder, if we were to go back to recipes, let's say we're not planning this, and say we want to cook coconut chicken curry on Saturday. And so our shopping list has these items. But why would we want to see salt every time? Because chances are we already have salt. And so a feature that you can add, that I added, that I'm going to try to solve this problem, is adding another field. Spoiler, the way to solve a lot of these is just add another field. And that is, we can call this stocked. And the type of field it will be a checkbox. You can drag this over to the front. And the idea here is that any of us, as we're in the kitchen, we can manage this column as determining whether something's stocked or not. Rice and salt is something you're probably going to have a lot of for a while. And then, when you add one of these items to the, oh yeah, we have to update this to match. So this is going to have to say stocked should be unchecked. As you can see, because it's not stocked, you only need to buy the items that you need. But if you ever were adding it and maybe we ran out of salt, we could just say oh, it's no longer stocked, and our shopping list would have it here. Oh yeah, and one more thing. So when you're in the grocery store and you want to shop for these, it's kind of, it's kind of a pain when you buy something like salt you put in your basket, but you still have a long list of ingredients. So you kind of get like lose track of what you need to look for. So we want to have two views. We're going to call this view to buy. And we'll have this one called in basket. And they're the same database. So, basically they're just two ways of looking at it. So you need to apply kind of filters to each. But for the buy, what we're going to do is we'll add another column. And this will just be, we'll call it in basket. And in basket, we forgot to make it a checkbox. And then over here, looks like the filters, fell off of that. So we need to add these filters back. So is after today. And then we also wanted to add the filter that it's stocked is unchecked. All right, so now we have two views that look the same. This is going to be called, looks like we messed that up. Oh, no, we didn't. This is called to buy, and this is called in basket. Let's hide these database titles as it's a lot cleaner to look at it this way. I also like to hide something like in this shopping view. We don't really need to know whether something's stocked. So I'm a big fan of cleaning things up. So you can go to properties, you can say, we're going to hide stocked. And in this view, we'll drag over in basket to the front as well. And what we really want is if something's in the basket to have it disappear from this and show up in here. So again, you can solve that by just using another filter. We'll say in basket is checked. Oh, we accidentally created a new view. We'll delete that view. I also did the filter the opposite of what I should do. In basket should be unchecked. And for the basket is the opposite. We want in basket to be checked. So now with this logic, you have some functionality. Actually, I'm going to hide stocked from here as well. I know I'm being a little overly specific, but it makes it easier to be clean. So when you click this, it pops over into in basket, and you can track the things you bought. Maybe you want to see everything that you bought during that day, and you can move it back or back and forth. So one feature that I'm thinking about is how do I clear this checkbox? Because you don't want, if things are in the basket, eventually you leave and then nothing's in your basket. So it would be great if I could have a little button that would just uncheck everything every time you click the button. So, or like something really fancy like geolocation, if you come back to your home, it unchecks everything in your basket, but that is pretty pie in the sky. Yeah, I'm not going to take too much more time, but this is my little tool, and hope you have fun. Try out Notion. It's pretty cool and free to play around with. Cheers.